Ever gotten that dreaded spinning wheel of doom, right when you really needed your banking app to work? Or maybe you've been stuck with a glitching shopping cart in the middle of a flash sale, the worst.
Oh, we've all been there. Frustrating, isn't it?
The struggle is real, but today we're diving headfirst into the world of software testing, the unsung heroes behind every smooth app experience.
It's about so much more than just like squashing bugs. It's about ensuring quality, security, and building that crucial trust between the user and the technology they're interacting with every single day.
Our source material defines software testing as the process of, let me get this right, evaluating software to ensure it meets requirements and identify defects before it reaches the end user.
Exactly. Think of it like a safety net, carefully and meticulously woven to catch those oops moments before they even have a chance to impact the user. App stability, data security, seamless functionality, it all falls under this big umbrella of software testing.
And I'm guessing discovering a bug after the app is already in the hands of millions of users is a lot more stressful and expensive than catching it early on.
Right. Oh, you hit the nail right on the head. The cost of fixing a bug after it's released, it can be astronomically higher, not to mention the potential damage to a company's reputation. Early and comprehensive testing, it's not just a best practice, it's essential, a business imperative, really.
That makes a lot of sense. Kind of like preventative healthcare, but for software. So walk us through the different types of testing. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach, is it?
Definitely not. Our sources point to two main approaches. First, there's manual testing, where skilled testers essentially act as vigilant users trying to break the software, to expose any weaknesses.
I can only imagine the spreadsheets involved in that.
And then on the flip side, there's automated testing, where pre-written scripts kind of take the stage. This is especially helpful for those repetitive tasks. Imagine having to test every single button on a website. Talk about tedious. Automation is a game changer in those situations.
So it's like having a team of super efficient robot testers working 24/7, just making sure everything runs smoothly.
That's actually a great way to put it. But it's not just about functionality. We also have this whole other area called non-functional testing.
Non-functional testing. Okay, now that sounds intriguing. What does that entail?
So non-functional testing checks things like how fast does the app load? How secure is your data, really? Or how much battery life does it use? Basically, all those crucial aspects that impact the overall user experience, but aren't directly tied to a specific function of the app.
So making sure that ordering takeout on your phone doesn't completely drain your battery before you can even hit place order.
Precisely. It's about making sure the user has a seamless, efficient, and hopefully enjoyable experience. And that involves looking at the bigger picture, not just the individual features in isolation.
It's amazing how much thought and planning goes on behind the scenes of these apps we use every day and just take for granted.
Absolutely. And there's even more to uncover, even more to think about, as we dig deeper into the structured life cycle of software testing. Our sources detail this very meticulous process.
Okay, I'm ready to dive deeper. Walk me through it.
Okay. So imagine you're constructing a building. You wouldn't just start randomly laying bricks, right? You'd start with blueprints, careful measurements, a well-defined plan.
Right. Rushing the planning phase could lead to some serious structural issues down the line, both literally and metaphorically.
Exactly. So first, we analyze what the software's supposed to do, define the scope, plan our strategy. Then we develop these detailed test cases, essentially step-by-step instructions for what to test and how to test it. Then we execute those tests, analyze the results, generate reports outlining any defects. It's a multi-stage process, each stage playing a crucial role in building a solid, reliable piece of software.
Okay, this is way more than someone just clicking around on an app, hoping for the best. So how does this actually work in practice? What tools do these testers use to find these elusive bugs?
That's a great question, and leads us to some pretty cool tools of the trade. Our sources mention tools like, for example, Jira.
Jira. Now, isn't that project management software?
It is, but in the software testing world, it's often used for bug tracking. Think of it as a centralized hub, almost like a to-do list, where developers can track and manage those reported bugs.
Okay, I can see how that would be essential just for keeping everything organized and making sure every bug gets addressed, but it sounds like that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the tools involved.
Right. We also have tools like Selenium. Selenium is commonly used in automated testing. Imagine a program mimicking a human interacting with a website, clicking buttons, filling forms, navigating pages, even testing these complex workflows, all automatically.
Wow. So they basically automate the actions a real person would take, but at super speed. That's fascinating. What about all that behind-the-scenes data exchange? I know you tech-savvy listeners are curious about APIs.
You're speaking my language. For those who might not be familiar, APIs or application programming interfaces are like messengers, allowing different software systems to communicate and exchange data. Tools like Postman are essential here. We use them to make sure that data exchange is happening correctly and efficiently.
Okay, this is getting seriously high-tech. It sounds like you need a whole team of specialists for this, each with their own area of expertise. Our sources mention manual testers, automation engineers.
You're absolutely right. It's a truly collaborative effort involving a diverse range of specialists. You have those manual testers with their keen eye for detail, their ability to simulate real user scenarios.
They're the ones who catch those tricky usability issues, the ones that a script might miss.
Exactly. And then there were those automation engineers, the coding wizards, who build those smart scripts we were just talking about. They're the ones who really bring automated testing to life. And to keep this whole well-oiled machine running smoothly, we have test leads. They're the ones managing the entire operation, making sure everyone's on the same page, timelines are met, the project stays on track.
So like the conductor of an orchestra, but for software testing, making sure everyone hits their notes at the right time.
That's a fantastic analogy. And then we have the DevOps engineers. They're all about integrating testing seamlessly into the development process itself. It's not just a separate phase at the end anymore. It's like baked into every step, making sure quality is built in from the ground up.
So instead of waiting for things to, potentially break, they're building checks and balances right into the foundation of the software.
Exactly. It's about catching those bugs early and often, before those little issues have a chance to snowball into these major headaches down the road.
It's like having those expert craftspeople. We talked about the building earlier. Meticulously examining every inch, making sure each brick is laid perfectly, instead of waiting for the whole structure to be finished and realizing, oh, there's a crack in the foundation.
Precisely. And just like in any field, the world of software testing is constantly evolving. There are always exciting new trends emerging.
And that's what I was hoping we could unpack a bit. What does the future of bug hunting look like these days?
2 words: AI and shift left. These are 2 of the major forces that are shaping the future of software testing.
Okay, I have to admit, those sound a bit like code names for top secret tech initiatives. Can you break those down for us?
Of course. Let's start with AI. Artificial intelligence. We're seeing AI being used to make testing smarter, more efficient. Imagine having an extra set of eyes, constantly scanning the code for potential issues, predicting problems before they even arise, almost like a superpowered assistant, helping to ensure the quality of the software.
Is that even possible? It sounds like AI is becoming a member of the testing team.
You're not far off. AI is being used in so many different ways in testing now. For example, it can analyze massive amounts of data to identify patterns, potential weaknesses, and that helps testers focus their efforts on the areas that are most likely to have issues.
So it's like AI is bringing a laser focus, helping to prioritize and streamline the testing process, making sure those most critical areas get the attention they deserve.
Exactly. And that's just one example. AI can also be used to automate more complex tests that used to require human intuition and experience.
Wow, that's incredible. Okay, what about shift left? You mentioned that earlier.
Right, shift left. It's all about integrating testing earlier and more frequently throughout that entire software development lifecycle. So traditionally, testing was often seen as its own separate stage, happening towards the end of the development process. But with shift left, we're shifting it to the left, integrating it from the very beginning.
So instead of waiting until the end to test everything, you're incorporating it into each stage of development right from the get-go.
Exactly. And this has so many benefits. First, as we talked about earlier, it's much easier and cheaper to fix bugs early on before they have a chance to become bigger problems.
Right. A small crack is a lot easier to fix than a crumbling foundation.
Exactly. But it's not just about saving money. Shift left also leads to faster release cycles. By integrating testing throughout, you can identify and address issues quicker, which means you can release those new features, those updates, to users faster.
So it's not just about making things work, but also about making things work faster.
Exactly. In today's world, in this tech world, speed and agility are absolutely essential. Users expect these constant updates, these constant improvements, and shift left really helps companies deliver on that.
This is making me look at my apps in a whole new light. I had no idea how much complexity, how much innovation was going on behind the scenes.
And we're just scratching the surface.
So let's bring this back to our listeners for a moment. What does all of this mean for the everyday user, the person who's just using these apps every day?
It means that the next time you, for example, download an app update or you see a new feature on your favorite website, there's a good chance that a whole team of talented testers, armed with these cutting-edge tools and techniques, they've been working behind the scenes tirelessly to make sure that your experience is seamless, it's enjoyable.
So we owe those little bug fixes and performance improvements notes in our app updates a lot more credit than we realize.
Absolutely. It's a real testament to the dedication and expertise of that entire testing team. And as AI continues to evolve, as shift left becomes even more common, we can only expect to see even greater levels of quality, security, and innovation in the software that we use every single day.
It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. Even as technology keeps advancing, becoming more complex, there's this whole other world evolving alongside it, making sure those advancements, actually work.
It's a constant dance, really. You have innovation on one side, and then on the other, ensuring that innovation is reliable, user-friendly.
Makes you wonder, though, as AI becomes even more integrated into this whole process, will we ever reach a point where, bugs are just a thing of the past? A world of perfect, bug-free software?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's definitely a possibility. I mean, as AI and machine learning get more advanced, they're becoming more adept at identifying and even predicting those potential issues. Imagine software that can basically test and refine itself, constantly learning and improving.
Like the software equivalent of a self-healing superpower. But even with all those advancements, I imagine there are always going to be new challenges popping up.
Oh, absolutely. As software gets more sophisticated, more interconnected, those potential points of failure, well, they multiply. Think about self-driving cars, for example.
Mm-hmm.
The software behind those vehicles is unbelievably complex. It's not just about can the car switch lanes or can it park itself. It's about can it navigate countless real-world scenarios and do it safely, reliably. The testing required for that kind of software, it's immense.
That's a really good point. The stakes are so much higher when you're talking about software that's interacting with, the physical world in such a direct way.
Exactly. And that's why even with AI, with automation, human testers, they're still essential. They bring that creativity, intuition, and understanding of real-world contexts that, honestly, even the most advanced AI can't replicate.
So it's not about AI replacing human testers. It's more about AI giving them superpowers, allowing them to focus on those higher level, more nuanced aspects of testing.
Exactly. Humans and AI working together, each playing to their strengths to create truly robust and reliable software.
This whole conversation has really given me a new appreciation for those little bug fixes and performance improvements notes we see in all those app updates.
I'm glad to hear that. It's easy to overlook this whole world of software testing. It's behind the scenes, but it's so important.
It definitely is. Well, to our listeners, next time you encounter a glitch, a bug, just remember, there's this whole team of dedicated experts out there working hard to identify it, understand it, and ultimately resolve it. It's this continuous cycle of improvement, this drive for quality, this commitment to making those digital experiences we have every day seamless.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
A huge thank you to our expert for taking us on this incredible deep dive into the world of software testing. And to all our listeners, thanks for joining us. We hope you've gained a newfound appreciation for the intricate work that goes into ensuring the software you use every day is reliable, efficient, and of course, user-friendly.